Welcome to Rick Rack Ruby. I'm Laura Cluvo. Today we will be making this Clothespin Angel Christmas ornament from a jelly roll strip. This fabric is Flea Market Mix by Moda. She's fun and easy, so let's get started. To make the Flea Market Clothespin Angel ornament, the first thing to do is to open up the jelly roll and pull out the button themed fabric strips. So here's one, which of course this would be my favorite because it's all neutrals. There are two of those. There are two of these multicolored. There are two of these coral. Two, the aqua, which I also really like. Here's aqua with multicolored buttons. This is plenty. I'm going to start with one of these, neutral, one of these, aqua, and this one. So we'll use these three strips today. I'm going to attach my Bernina ruffler attachment, the classic ruffler, and I'm going to gather up each strip on the tightest setting. I do have a separate video for that. Look for the, I think it's called How to Use the Bernina Classic Ruffler. And if you don't have a Bernina, I'm sure that your machine has a similar attachment. Sometimes they're called pleaters. I'm going to gather up one edge of each of these strips to the tightest setting, and I will be right back. As I'm prepping the strips, I'm noticing that the way these buttons are printed, there's a little shadow along one edge. You can see it here. So I'm going to consider that the bottom of the print, and I'm going to be sure that I gather up the top edge. I also remove the selvage before I begin. After gathering the strip, the total length is about 12 inches. So I'm going to cut 3 inches from the gathered edge here. And this is going to become the skirt. I'm going to stick with mostly neutrals and just a touch of blush. So I'm starting with a length of blush colored embroidery floss. It's 3 strands with a knot in the end. And I've cut some shapes from felt with my die cutting machine. Every time I use felt, I just cut the scraps with my smallest little dies. And so I have a collection of those. Keeping with the button theme, I have a small little button, and I'm going to stack 2 of these felt shapes, and you can do whatever you like here. You can just use a circle or an oval or a square or a heart, or you can just, do whatever you like. But I'm going to do something like this. So there's about a 1-inch heart, and then a little bit smaller 5-petaled flower, and then a tiny little mother of pearl button, which I think is about 1/4 inch, and then the floss. I'm going to secure that on the back. I did not put the button right in the dead center of the flower. I like it up a little bit higher, but you can do whatever you like. I'm going to add some hot glue to the back of this heart. Then I'm going to press it onto the clothespin for a bodice. There we go. Now there's a little bit of dimension here with the petals. They lift up a little bit, and I really like that. Now for the skirt, this is going to go just below, like this, and it's going to wrap around the waist. Okay, so I'm going to start with the center and glue the center to the front of the clothespin. That looks good. And then one edge I'm going to fold under and glue to create sort of a little hem right here. And then I'll glue this and then this over it. So the back is kind of thick, but the front is not. And we're going to glue some wings back here, so that will help to disguise that. There we go. Here's how it looks. Now for the arms, that's so cute. I'm going to use this off-white color. I've cut a 1/4 inch wide strip by about 3.5 inches long. I'll glue the center behind her neck, fold it over to determine the center, put a little bit of, add that to the back of her neck. And then I'm going to bring the hands around to the front and secure them with a little bit of glue, but I like for there to be a little curve in the elbow or in the arm. So I won't pull them all the way straight, but of course that's fine too. Here's the glue on the first hand. I'll put that around to the center. And then the second hand. There we go. I have some blush flowers that are cut from a vintage hat, but I think they're just a little big and they're not quite right. So I'm going to go with white. I don't need all of these. That's kind of a lot. So I'll pull out 3 flowers from this little bundle of paper forget-me-nots, and I'll remove them. I couldn't find my white florist tape, but I found this gold glitter florist tape, so what could possibly top that? It's not very sticky though. I added a little bit of glue to the glitter tape, and that's going to help secure it. So now I will glue this to the front of her hand with the stem kind of off to the diagonal. Now, since I have the little bit of gold glitter in there, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to add a crown to her head. But first, let's do her wings. So I think I'll put the blush color in the back and then the ivory in the front, like this. So I'll just add a little smudge of glue to the center. Okay, so then I'll add glue here and just glue that to the back of her head. So it's just like this. There we go. Now for some hair, we will use pom-poms. I have this pom-pom trim that I got at Goodwill. But of course you can buy or make individual pom-poms. And the size, it looks like it's about 1/2 inch, but you can definitely go a little bigger. I'm going to put 1 pom-pom on the top of her head and then 1 in the back. You can see why it's important to put the wings on first. That looks good. Now I said that I was going to add a little crown. This is a bead cap, a gold filigree bead cap. You can get this in the jewelry making department or online. Okay, so I'm going to add some hot glue to the bottom center and press that into the top. I like it to be a little bit off center, kind of tilted. Just makes her look a little bit whimsical. Maybe not quite that sideways, but just a little bit. It looks good with the gold glitter stem. Now, I thought of another option, and that would be just to add a flower into her hair. That would be pretty. Or, of course, a wire halo. Now I'm going to go ahead and just use the same floss that I have, that blush colored floss that I used to tie on the button, to sew on the button. And this will be her hanging loop. I feel like the pom-pom wasn't quite secure enough on the sides, so I added a little bit more glue. There we go. Here's a blue one. She has a halo, and then I put a bow in the back. I could put a bow. I think the bow and the crown is kind of overkill, so we'll leave that one like that. But now I'm going to make one with this more colorful print, exactly the same way, and I think I'm going to use this color, so it'll be a little bit more colorful. I'm still going to use this blush floss. Let's call this a rose color. It's sort of a rose color of felt, and I'm still going to use the little baby mother of pearl button. I have a little ivory colored felt star. I turned the star so that there are 2 points at the top and 1 at the bottom. This clothespin has a little bit stronger features. And of course, the instructions for the face, the Rick Rack Ruby face, can be found in my Focus on Faces video. About right here. Then I'll fold under one side like this to create sort of a hem. Then I'll apply some glue to the center. This clothespin is a slightly different shape than the first one, which is good because I want you to know that you can use any clothespin that you can find. They'll all work. I think this is a little bit longer. There we go. We're off to a great start. Now I've already cut some white arms, so I'm just going to use white. That looks good. A little bit of glue right to the center. Glue that right behind the neck there. And then each hand gets glued down to the front like this. This is 1/4 inch by 3.5. And again, I'm going to use these white flowers. I'll just snip them off and glue them individually to the hands. I'm not going to tie them off with floral tape. 3. And of course, you can use any color of flowers. I have these colors, just none of them seems quite right. Nope. And then I have these, which could be all right with the aqua fabric, but they just weren't quite right. And I have yellow, which could have worked, but it's just not my favorite. I didn't have any wings cut to this exact shade, but I have this and this, kind of a raspberry color. And I think I'm going to go with the raspberry. I even tried this, which is fine. They're all fine. You can't really go wrong. But I'm going to do it this way. So a little smear of glue to layer these pieces together. That looks good. And then I decided to do just one large pom-pom right on the top. This is a vintage cotton pom-pom, but you can find pom-poms. I think this is 1 inch. And I'm just going to glue this right on the dead center top of her head. Of course, you can use any color you like. I'm going to sew a hanging loop through the pom-pom. I'm just using the same blush colored floss, but of course you can use anything you like. And then I need to decide if I want to do a crown or a halo. But I'm pretty sure this big old pom-pom is just dying for a crown. We'll put this one on the other side so that she looks a little bit different. Here's how she looks from the back. Here's the front. Which one's your favorite? Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you're enjoying my videos, please like, share, and subscribe.